Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video lesson, we're going to learn how to brighten and dull burnt umber. Now this one's not a hard one to do when it comes to dulling down because there's really only a couple of ways of doing that because it's so dark. So I'm going to basically give you a couple of options for that. We're not going to spend much time on that. We're going to spend time on the brightening of colors. So basically we need to look at the color wheel, on the floor. You need to look at the color wheel, and that burnt umber sits right about here, but it's a reddish orange, very dark. So again, dulling, there's really not much you can do. You would use burnt umber primarily within another mix or as a base, let's say for a tree or something, and then you would go from there. But as is, to dull it down, you really could then take like something in the greens, even the blues. We're going to be working on dulling it down by making a chromatic black and then also using carbon black. So I'm going to be taking, we'll get to that because we still have a chromatic black, a formal lesson coming up with that, but I'm going to show you quickly about doing that. But it's the brightening, and we're basically going to be taking the colors from here all the way to here. So I've got permanent alizarin crimson, naphthol red light, Paranon orange, Hansa yellow medium, and Hansa yellow in the traditions with the opaque white. I've got my burnt umber here, carbon black, phthalo blue, and ultramarine blue. So we have a red that leans towards violet, a neutral red leans a little bit more towards the blue side, naphthol red light, a red that leans towards orange, a neutral orange, a yellow that leans towards orange, a neutral yellow, and then a blue that leans towards green, a blue that leans towards violet. And the carbon black, which is a black that leans a bit towards blue. So push those all up here. And I've got the paints on the palette. So this one here is really good if you experiment with the colors that you have. So I tried to get fancy doing, you know, a kind of like a makeshift color wheel in the last lesson. No, I'm going back to old school. So we're just going to make the colors at the top and then work our way down. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then, oh, okay, it'll fit. So let's take the brightening part. So we're going to take burnt umber and let's see what it looks like if we take that and then we brighten it with permanent alizarin crimson. And you do, and okay, I was just scratching out our post. You do end up getting another mix with it, but with a, burnt umber plus permanent alizarin crimson, naphthol red light, Paranon orange, Hansa yellow medium, Hansa yellow, and then where are we? Then we're going to neutralize it with carbon black, then with phthalo blue, and then ultramarine blue. I'm short one. I think because I was counting this one or counting white. This is going to make another mix. Like I said, you really won't, you clearly can't tell whether it's dull or bright as is. Like I can tell because I see the white of the paper showing through. What you need to do is, like you would never really use burnt umber as by itself unless you're basing it with, like mixing it with something else. So the way to tell is, oh shoot, I forgot to put burnt umber down as a base. That's what I forgot to do. Well, you know how we can get around that? Like I did this on purpose. Half a piece of paper with burnt umber. And it should be white paper. And then add white to the other side. Okay, so now what we can do is we can do this. Compare it that way. When it's dry, we'll be able to hold it better and compare it that way. So kind of a dull brown. Now we've got a little bit of red to it. I think that's a little bit too much red. Let's go in, add a bit more burnt umber to that. I'm not going to worry about this. I'll just do it to here. So we want to just make it a little bit brighter and add more white so we can see it. There we go. So close to what we have. So does it look a little bit brighter? Yeah, it does. It's got a little bit more of a violet hue to it. Okay, so permanent alizarin crimson works. Okay, brightens that up a little bit. And it's a natural thing, see? That goes. So, okay, so if we take burnt umber now with, I'm mixing some colors. I'm missing Naphthol red. I missed that one. I got confused. So Naphthol red, not a lot. So let's get that in there. You want just enough to make a difference. Okay, add some white. Okay, the value is a little bit light, but I don't have any more paint to mix that up. So the red is quite strong, and the red really gets emphasized because there's already red in burnt umber. So that brightened that up. Yeah, it's a little light, but it brightened it up. Okay, so that worked. So we're going to take burnt umber with Naphthol red light, just a little bit. Is that enough? I don't know if that made enough of a change. I don't know if that made enough of a change. Let's mix that over here. Yep, yeah, it's all right. It's actually better than this one here. Just enough of a shift. Go. Just a little bit brighter than that. So that one works. Okay. So it's a little bit brighter. It's not a dull blah color. That one's probably out of all of them, I think this one's probably the dullest, but it looks more towards violet. Face value, they look fine, but it's when you add the white to see the true underlying color, that's when, and white always dulls a little bit too. It just changes the value, but this one here, it's a little bit dull. So anything that sticks more towards the reds seems to be working quite nicely. So Paranone orange, just a little bit. That's too much. Now, is that enough? Because there's it's so dark, it's hard to see. Let's add some white to that. Is it enough? Yep. You want just enough of a change. So this one works as well. Okay. That works as well. Okay, so we're all right now. We're still good. Okay, so let's try now with Hansa Yellow Medium. Are we going to be brightening or are we going to be dulling? Ooh. I'm going to add a bit more burnt umber to that. That may be a bit too much yellow. Okay, face value. I'm not liking this as a brightening color, but it's kind of hard to brighten up a neutral, isn't it? Let's add some white. All right, well, do you think this is a brightening color or a brightening mix or a dulling mix? What do you think? It might probably be a, I don't know, it depends. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. Yellow is a brighter color, but, it's, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. You got your pop quiz. Do you think this mixture is a brightening color or a dulling color? I'll let you answer that one. So let's take burnt umber now with neutral Hansa yellow. Add white. Well, this one's an easy one. Using the value scale to refer to brightening or dulling. That's pop quiz number 2. Is Hansa yellow with burnt umber dulling or brightening? All right. Oh, I didn't put carbon black on here. Don't need a lot. So, burnt umber with a little bit of carbon black. Face value, very hard to figure out because you can't see. Add white. Adding carbon black, is it a brightening or a dulling color? Pop quiz number 3. All right. Now let's take burnt umber with a speck of phthalo blue. I think that might be too much of a speck. Again, hard to see the true underlying color. Add white. Add more white. Okay, pop quiz number 4. Brightening or dulling, phthalo blue and burnt umber. And the last one, burnt umber, ultramarine blue. Add white. Oh. Brightening or dulling. Pop quiz number 1, 2, 3, 5. So you have 5 pop quiz questions. Taking the little sample chip. If you don't have the colors, by now you should have your palette relatively set for what you're going to be using. You need a yellow that leans towards orange. Whether or not you have a neutral yellow doesn't really matter. But you really need to have your colors set by now. If you don't, use my chart as a reference point. Otherwise, use your chart as a reference point. But I want you to post a picture of your chart. So pop quiz number 1 is it duller or brighter with Hansa yellow medium and burnt umber? Pop quiz number 2, is it brighter or duller Hansa yellow with burnt umber? Pop quiz number 3, is it brighter or duller using carbon black and burnt umber? Pop quiz number 4, brighter or duller with phthalo blue and ultramarine blue? Pop quiz 5, brighter or duller ultramarine blue with burnt umber. All right, so if you don't have these colors, then use my chart as a reference point. Otherwise, answer your questions using your chart, but post a picture of your chart so we can take a look at it as well. Alrighty, now if you're watching this from YouTube, you need to click the link below to go to the community and post your color charts over there because you can't post pictures in YouTube. So you've got 5 pop quiz questions with this. And I found this really, really interesting. You can see how it goes from kind of dark, then it goes to bright, 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 then it goes to dull again. If you've got the time, mind you, we're going to be covering this in 2 more lessons, is to do this with green as well. You get your greens in there. or just focus on this, because we're going to be doing it in the hue string. We're going to be mixing it with the other colors as well, so you'll be able to see. But isn't it interesting, the change in that? So at face value, they look pretty good until you get right to about here, but they look pretty good. Alrighty, so I'm going to clean up and get ready for the next lesson, which is the one that's probably what you've been waiting for. Buy or DIY Burnt Umber, because I've already said a few times, Burnt Umber does not need to be a core color in your palette. It's an extended color. But if you're painting a lot of landscapes that are dark and moody, then you might want to buy some Burnt Umber, but you don't need it. So we're going to learn how to make that in the next video. So until I see you then, stay inspired.